Well, a very special guest on Absolutely Famous today is Dave Williamson and his son Kurt. Dave played rugby for the famous Waititi club in the King Country alongside one of the world's most famous rugby players, Sir Colin Meads, back in the day. Um, in the 1990s and 2000s, Dave had a second coming as a sportsman. He took up rowing coaching, a little bit by chance, but helped crews out of Marlborough Girls College in Wairau to some great success, winning Māori Cup and medals. That's New Zealand secondary schools medals, national championship medals, and he inspired a lot of young people. Unfortunately, at the moment, Dave's got a hell of a battle going on with cancer. He's amongst his treatments. He's had a 12-hour operation to remove a tumour and had his tongue reconstructed, which is why Dave doesn't speak as clearly at the moment as he used to, which is why Kurt, his son, is beside him in case we struggle. Dave, wonderful to see you, mate, and sorry about this health battle you're undergoing, and a bit of a battle for you at the moment.
Yeah, but your numbers up, and there's a lot of face every challenge as they come. This battle's probably going to be one that I may not win, but I've sort of got one or two chances to go, so fighting every step of the way.
Absolutely. Just like you used to inspire your rowing crews, it's never over till it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Going right back, Dave, to your days in the King Country playing for Waititi, you must have had a lot of fun. That was a great time to be playing senior club rugby.
They were great grassroots rugby times. A King Country club team could take on a Waikato team easily in those days. And we used to beat them, like pre-season games, beat them by 50 points and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was good fun.
Well, the King Country Wanganui combined teams used to give the Lions and the Springboks a hurry up too. So, yeah, some pretty good.
There's some pretty good talent in there.
Did you play with Sir Colin and Sir Colin Meads and his brother Stan?
Yeah, I actually played one game with Stan. And about, I think it was only two with Colin. They were late in the season games with Colin. I played with Stan when we were, YT were very, very short one day because we were playing, and I was one of the, I think only being 18, I was about one of the two guys that weren't in the King Country team at the time. So all the old guys came out of retirement. A lot of fun that was. Played teams with East Coast. T. Roy Tartaring, he was an Auckland rep, Murray All Black.
That's right.
His son was a golfer. And he went public and said that we're going to finally beat YT. And that got these guys' heels up.
Fantastic.
There's some gasping going on during that game, I saw you.
I've always wondered.
I believe I hit more penalties.
Good on you. Well done. So, what did you play? First five or fullback?
I played probably my best rugby. I always say I was a first five, but I probably played my best rugby at the centre.
Yeah.
I had played a lot of rugby at the centre. Had an under 16 trial, North Island trial there. So yeah.
Good stuff. I've always wondered who do you think the better player was? Was Colin or Stan? Who do you reckon would have?
Hard to say because you asked the same question when you asked me who the best player was. Give an example. Braintree is one of the strongest people and technically strong people I've ever played with.
Yeah.
But Stan was immensely fast. You would not believe how fast he was. I consider myself pretty quick, and he was as quick as what I was.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It was.
Yeah, so he was like it wasn't a big man, but he was fast.
Yeah, well, he was a great lock. The time, the brief time he did play for the All Blacks. Look, tell us about now. What you moved to Marlborough to Blenheim.
Yep.
What prompted that move?
I was in the banking industry and got made redundant. And friends of ours were moving down to. They had a chance to take over Centre Station. They were going to take over either Redwood or Grove Road.
Yeah.
And they chose Grove Road, and we ended up getting. They chose Redwood, I should say, and we chose Grove Road. So yeah.
So how long did you run the Grove Road service station for? I know you got a national award for that too.
Yeah, 13 years. So yeah,
13 years.
That was my first national championship.
Yeah. And it was
I have to admit that Sharon, we had plans on we used to get mystery shoppers in. I had plans on making sure I was behind the counter when it happened, but she ended up being the one that got the perfect score when we won.
Yeah, good stuff. I used to
He was
go
out there with a paintbrush, John, every time a tyre ran into the curb and was painting it over with white paint every day.
No, it's really obsessive.
Probably about 3 inches thick by the end of it.
So who was the business brains, you or Sharon, Dave? Your wife?
Oh, probably both really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but both we're both got banking background, so we both financially know what we're doing, but I probably leave we had a good demarcation line in business where she looked after the finances and I looked after the staff and general running of the business.
Worked pretty well. So how did you get involved in rowing? I presume through the kids?
Yeah. Well, Gemma started rowing in, I don't know when, I think 1999 or something.
Yep.
You know, I used to come in we lived out in Bucks Lane, and I would probably be working, well, I probably pretend to be working, and I used to pick up all the kids. That's right, it was my turn to pick up the kids, distribute them in different places.
Pick them up from training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll drop her off at the rowing club. Usually go home, and then by the time I got home and turned around, it was about an hour difference. So in the end, I used to just start sitting there. So I started sitting on the bank.
Just watching them?
One day, John Robbie, one day he said to me, "You realise you can come out with me if you want to."
John Robbie, of course, going on to coach at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he so I started going out with him in about 6 months, probably not even that long. Being a novel, I started giving him a bit of advice. Turned around to me and he said to me, "You're ready to take some cruise." I'm like, no. But anyhow, that's what happened, because he ended up getting very soon, very soon after he got called up to the New Zealand
the secondary school champs.
Just him and I was left to be head coach with no knowledge, hardly knew the rowing stroke. So I have really fast. That off season, I read just about every rowing book I could find just to learn, a little bit about it. And luckily I must read the right books.
You're a bloody quick learner, that's for sure. What a great mentor to have, John Robinson. He's a legend.
I was lucky because I had he taught me everything I know, but I also had other people like Marion Hallwell and Mark Stillard, and even later on I was still learning with Bill Campbell. They all great coaches themselves.
Yeah, wonderful. Just a rich vein of talent there, isn't there, in Blenheim and the Blenheim and the Wairau clubs. And so you went on to. Do you remember your first medal success with the Marlborough Girls College team? Was it the college team first or the club team first?
Oh, probably the club.
The Wairau club, yeah.
I reckon club. When Martin gold medals like 6 couple of medals. I reckon they're so hard to get.
How many was that, Kurt? How many medals did you...
He reckons one Māori medal is worth 6 national titles.
Is that right? Yeah, well, I've been to both regattas and the Māori Cups. The secondary school thing's amazing. Yeah. So how many of those did you win? How many coaching medals did you win to the Māori? Roughly. Yeah, numerous.
Probably Māori medals, probably somewhere around 20, maybe a bit more.
And who was your best crew? Give me two of your best rowers. Okay, if you had to name 2 rowers, who were the 2 best rowers you coached?
Name 5.
Okay, yeah, name 5. Kurt, you read them out again too, in case. Yep.
And this is no particular order. So I might do it from our age. So, but Sophie Newsham.
Sophie Newsham.
Yeah.
She, her, well, I'll put her and Laura Tester together. As a combination, they were probably at times the most dominant double in the country by quite some way.
Who was with Sophie?
Laura Tester.
Laura Tester, yep.
Yeah. They were technically the best crew I ever had.
Yeah.
Possibly whether they probably wouldn't, they're probably not 2 that would have gone on to national honours at elite level. Just didn't quite have the physiology, but yeah, as a little team, they did probably the best they could possibly do.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at people like
Tasha Williams, Tasha O'Neill, or still Tasha
right.
Williams.
She was amazing. That you came down before Christmas, so her dad rang me up and said, "Can you join our camp?" I said, "Sure." And straight away she got in the boat, and she played rough as anything, but played going everywhere. But anyhow, by the end of the camp, she's one of the fastest rowers, and I was thinking, holy heck. Yeah, nothing was said. I said, you should consider coming down and rowing for us. Next thing, she turns up. We had a great bunch of girls, so, and she just a little spark to it. And so she comes down early January. I think we had our first regatta mid-January. And I'm sitting down by the podium with Kurt, I think it was, just before lunchtime. And she comes up to me and she said, "Dave, what's the time?" I said, "Oh, it's 5 to 12. And she said, I won't use the word she said. It was an F word. She said, "Geez." She said, "Geez. Before I came down here, I never rode more than 4 Ks and never won a race in my life. Now I've won 3 by lunchtime." So she was a dropout from. I'm just so disappointed that she didn't become an international rider.
Yeah, she did row for New Zealand, didn't she?
Yeah,
Tasha, yep.
Of consequence, because she was very, very good. They just pushed her too far. Didn't look after her. There was, you talk about the girl from cycling is a perfect example of that, and I'll go on with the next one I'll talk about is in the same category. So we're not all Guns and Roses where we didn't really look after some of our athletes back in those days.
No, there's
That's what
many.
me and Dad talking about the other day that coaching's more than just technical. It's also preparing them mentally and making sure everybody, from a mental point of view, is there for game day, right?
Making sure everything's right, as you say, Kurt, off the field as well as on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So then there's another one who Georgia Hammond, got pure grit.
it's Georgia Hammond.
Right.
Yep.
She'd froth at the mouth to win a race.
Yeah.
She was like. She in junior trial, she looked to me and he said, I can't put her on, she's too short. I said, I haven't seen her lose a seat race yet. And so he put second, third, fourth and fifth against her, 6th, 7th, 8th, and she still won. So
She beat them all.
But then she obviously went, the second year in juniors, she came back to see me in my office, my mother, just 54 kgs. She was, just 69 kgs for tires like that.
Yeah.
And just poorly looked after.
Yeah.
How they could, athlete do that.
There's a bit of a trail of destruction, isn't there?
They should have met, as soon as they saw her that light, she should have been sent home. But they didn't, and she's never been in a rowboat again.
That's pretty sad, isn't it?
And we again. Just total waste.
It's just, as you say, it's just how poorly some athletes were looked after in that elite, not only rowing, but as you say, cycling. There's been a major inquiry there, unearthed all sorts of poor practices, and I know from a fact like you do, Dave, the same happened in rowing. A lot of rowers fell off the rails because they were poorly looked after.
Yeah.
Including our own bloody hero, Joe Sullivan.
Yeah, exactly. But, and then there's obviously Sophie McKenzie. Sophie, is she good?
That's Sophie McKenzie. Yeah, she was wonderful.
Yeah, I reflect on her, and I thought, why one of the reasons why I coach, and it probably came out more about why I coach with her than anybody else, because I always put the athlete first, and with her, it was the end of my international coaching, because I stuck up for her. Probably a waste of time, but anyhow, I got the message. We in under 21, we used to have trials, first, second, and third, and there were rules, but they weren't they weren't all written up on the board, but everybody knew what they were. And what you used to do is you get 7 for first, 3 for second, 1 for third.
This is in the boat seat trials.
Yeah. Right. So on the first 2 days, the 2 Waikato crew got 2 firsts. We got 2 seconds, and Nelson got 2 thirds. And there's talk about how I've been going from the 3rd day, because basically the trial was over, because the rule was that if you won 2 of the 3 races,
you're in.
Because we got 6 points and Nelson got 2 points. They thought they still had a chance if they won, because they get 7 and we get 9, and we get second.
Yeah.
About 9. So I went, and just to make sure, clarify with best around the trial.
The Rowing New Zealand selectors.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it wasn't in writing, so fair enough. Anyhow, what happens, Nelson ended up winning, we get second, both on 9 points. And our girls get named Nelson, put in a,
Protest.
protest, which is fair enough. They can put in protest. There's nothing wrong with it. They had every right to put in protest. But that Rowing New Zealand didn't back me up.
No.
I just said sorry. You have to rewrite. Even though I asked, been given assurance.
Yeah.
He went to me on a Friday night, about 5 beers. I was ringing everybody, just Rangers and so on. So that was the end of my rowing. I ended up coaching that year, but that was that. Which is probably good because I probably wasn't suited for that sort of thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously, Sophie achieved the most, but the other two
We're right up there. Yeah.
better guidance.
Well, it was a great fight. Of course, you're a sensational advocate for rowers because we always remember the campaign when Joe Sullivan wasn't selected for the national junior team, despite the fact that at a regatta, the Māori Cup, he won 3 gold medals inside 45 minutes and wasn't selected. And I always remember, I don't know who was more angry, you or me, but that was a great battle to win. And look what's happened since.
Yeah, we've had John. That was a great time. There's a lot of stuff, and that one time I actually probably played by the rules a bit. Because I really, as you know, the rest of the media wants to get into the story too.
Too
So
slow.
I think it's lucky having you there, having a few people hopping around, just saying that maybe do this. Use John rather than use national media.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got there. Good story. A lot of good things came out of that story.
Yeah, well, Joseph's always said to me that, if it wasn't for that decision getting turned around, his whole life might have taken a different course. He went on to win 5 elite world titles, an Olympic gold medal, and now he's twice been a crew member of America's Cup winning yachting sides, and that's pretty amazing.
Great story about. I know you had a great time. We won as Olympic gold, but
You were there.
Our whole family was in London, and Gemma had a ticket a little bit away from everyone. And I said, I'll have your ticket. You stay with the family. And I ended up sitting with this only generator, and he went, Dave. I went, yeah, no. I said, yeah. You know what, Thursday, Nathan and Joseph in the under-20s won single 2 years ago. He said, maybe I should keep going. And it's amazing how thousands of people end up sitting beside a guy like that.
That'd be a highlight of your rowing, watching Joe win that. Joe and Nathan win that gold medal in London.
Oh man, that boat went alive. It just lifted off the water.
Had an outboard motor on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 2 strokes weren't too good, but other than that, and it was great to catch up with him, have a beer with him afterwards. He was knackered, man.
Yeah.
We're talking probably 10 hours later, and he's still just absolutely a broken man.
Yeah.
They didn't give him a chance to recover properly.
He certainly gave it all, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or didn't they both?
Yeah.
Fabulous win. Well, that's great. So you must look back at what your involvement in sport and with a lot of satisfaction. I just sit there and a little smile on your face, think, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of achievements. Yeah, athlete first. I have every coach goes athlete first. That's all right.
Athletes first, you're dead right. What do you reckon, Kurt? It's done a pretty cool job, your dad.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing for someone who's never rode himself. Having people win national titles and win Māori Cup titles, it's pretty amazing. I think back to the day he's been in a boat once, I think, and he ended up in the drink as the coxswain. So. We'll leave him to the coaching.
Classic. And of course, you rode, Kurt, and your sisters rode. Just give us a brief rundown on that.
Yeah, so Gemma always claims she won a silver medal at the Māori Cup. So she says out of all of us, she's got top ranks. Amy rode in the New Zealand University team and under 21 team. And for the Central RPC, which was obviously a lot of gold medals and national titles out of Wairau. And then myself rode for Mulga Boys, obviously, and Dad actually coached me in the New Zealand universities team when we went to Adelaide in Australia. So
fantastic.
Somehow managed to get four of us to work together to win the competition against the Australians. I'm not quite sure how. Still scratch my head a bit with that one, but yeah.
First across the line is not how, it's how much. Yeah. Dave, wonderful to talk to you, mate. And I'm sorry you're struggling with this bloody cancer battle at the moment, but fingers crossed you can head it off, and just like. Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, mate. And thanks for all the help you've given me.
Right. Thank you for all the support.
Over the years. You've been a great ally of mine. You're always the first go-to, man. If I had a cunning plan to do something, to raise some money or something, I'd ring you first. So what do you think?
We'll fix the house.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much for the interview, mate. Thanks a lot, Kurt. Bloody good to catch up with you too. Look after Dad.
Thanks, Sean.
No worries, mate.
No.